Hey guys.
What the fuck are you wearing?
I just have a little bit of a rumination, a sort of thought I want to get out there, and it's like,
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
who the fuck is winning the culture war?
Yeah!
No, cause like really, who is actually winning the culture war? Okay, cause it's not the whites
What did he say?
who are just I don't know, can make up their mind, can pick a tribe to do. They're all, they're the ones joining the sort of like the liberal, the more progressive side of politics of like the social political sphere, where they're like, okay, you basically have two groups of white people. Okay, you have the right wing white people, and then you have the left wing white people. You got okay, so we got what we call the liberal, the leftard, whatever we want to classify them as. Okay, and they're Hey, this is Ken doing a editorial thing here. But earlier when I was recording this, I did start off talking about white people and like then what's going on. I would have eventually involved other races, but I kind of forego that sort of train of thought here and just focus mainly on sort of like social politics, geopolitics, maybe even. But yeah, no, there was no further race after I finished my whole little tangent about white people. Basically, looking in at like, okay, look at all the minorities, look at women, okay, look at all these historically marginalized groups of the population, of the total population, and they're looking at that and they see the history and they're trying to like correct them. Now, oftentimes on the more extreme ends of this classifications of the broader population of the nation. Classifications of the broader population of the nation.
But I'm not a rapper.
Do we see them kind of like doing a correction and then doing a bit of a overcorrection, overcorrecting, and then even correcting things that like had nothing to do with the original problem, yet they somehow extended that instant, that little module of our societal systems, whatever we may be, that were man-made, that we humans created, that they see that individual piece and they're like, okay, we're gonna correct this for the broader over correction of whether that be, racism, sexism, yada yada.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
How do you define wokeness? Because I hear people use the term all the time, and it means something different to everybody.
Well, again, I think it's this collection of ideas that are not building on liberalism, but very often undoing it. I mean, 5 years ago, Abraham Lincoln was not a controversial figure among liberals. We liked him. Now they take his name off schools and tear down his statues. Really? Lincoln isn't good enough for you? 5, 10 years ago, bedrock liberalism was we are striving to be a colorblind society where we don't see race. Of course, we see it, but it doesn't matter. That's not what woke is. Woke is something very different. It's identity politics. We see it all the time. It's always the most important thing. I don't think that's liberalism. I mean, I could mention so many issues like that.
So that's one group of white people, and then you have the opposite, the alt-right or the alt-right, So, the MAGA Republicans, even the non-Trump Republicans, never Trump Republicans. We can also include the rhinos, so the Republicans in name only conservatives. And we see this group being a little bit more diverse than the liberal side because again, this side here, it basically like, okay, we need to put a pin to what the other side is doing. So basically, they're looking at what the liberals are doing, and they're like, no, they're going too far. Okay, which could be, and you hear the thing. At some point, yet they do have that. They do are true that the liberals are, because like once again, like I just said in the more extreme sections, who are also sometimes the vocal minority. So basically, that group, okay, is going too far with the overcorrection. So the Republicans, everyone on the right, my side, usually, on my side are basically saying we want to put an end to the overcorrection. Okay, we're looking at the overcorrection of things, and again, this does correlate with the whole reactionary.
Boomer reactionary pipeline.
The reactionary label, where it's like, okay, you see something and basically be like, oh no, like for instance, like way back then, that like you hear all the stories of like the boomers like seeing a pride flag and be like, huh, hopa. You know, cause like that with the whole, you know, reactionary boomer thing to do. But let me just make sure I am using this term correctly. Opposing political or social liberalization or reform. So yeah, so that's the more extreme end of like the right wing. Okay, it's like again I like to identify the libertarian, you know, so as a guy who is on the right, but again I'm all for reform. Like again, I'm the kind of guy that's all in favor of the legalization of cannabis. Okay, that's it's someone trying to smoke the devil's really a liberal thing, you know. Many on the right wing are more opposing to the whole legalization of marijuana, because again, the overall broader spectrum of that, or the broader sort of like classification of that, would be the opposition of legalizing drugs of any matter, you know. Like once again, you have to look at historically. I mean, we tried to ban alcohol, we didn't, and but then, you know, came the war on drugs, which was back around the 80s. That might have been during the Ronald Reagan, the Reagan administration. I don't know, but bottom line, and just to stop me on going from tangent, basically it's like, okay, so the right wing tends to like be less opposed to recreational drug use. All right, but me, as a libertarian, you know, I personally want like all drugs to be legalized, but like.
What the fuck?
Did I stutter?
You mean everyone?
Legalize, but also moderated. But that's a little tangent. That's just a little personal tangent of mine, not for the greater subject of this video. Anyway, so going back, so yeah, the right wing, they are trying to stop the overcorrection that the left wing is doing. And sometimes I do think the right wing gets lost in the sauce. I mean, again, as we just saw, like we saw Marjorie Taylor Greene leave MAGA, okay, so she's on her own now. Historical, I mean, even when you see the Daily Wire, okay, like, okay, the Daily Wire, you know, Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, they had a whole disagreement because Candace Owens started to show some sympathy for the Palestine, okay? And you know, the Palestine is also like creating more division within both sides, and like of the little fractions of society, okay? So yeah, that's that. Candace split, and then Brett Cooper followed suit. All right.
No, it's genuinely the stuff that I'm interested in. And I mean, I don't
Yeah, I'm fucking interested in you, Brett.
know if anybody else knows this about just the Daily Wire in general, but every host here, we all write our own material.
Yeah. I want to give you some material to write on.
So now that's dead. And let's not forget that earlier also, before this, we had Tucker Carlson leaving Fox News. You know, and then, you know, we also had like Nick Fuentes also like saying that Candace Owens went a bit too far with like the quote unquote anti-Semitism, even though this is Nick Fuentes, the Groyper king.
I have to do a bit of a correction here of what I said here. So basically, what Nick Fuentes called out Candace Owens for, basically, Nick Fuentes, I think the last thing he said about Candace Owens, specifically when it comes to the anti-Semitism, is that and you know, he was agreeing kind of like with something that Ben Shapiro said, but basically, Nick Fuentes is basically saying that like Candace Owens was a low IQ anti-Semitic, because he differentiates simply people just asking questions about the geopolitics versus people who are just adamant that definitely for sure that the Jews are behind it, you know, and he called out her hypocrisy about this and whatnot.
You know, so like yeah, like the right wing spear is falling apart. Even I think within the red pill space, I mean, Andrew Tate lost popularity, like Fred and Fred lost popularity, like currently right now I think the red pill space manosphere is also kind of falling apart and losing traction also, because again, and I think I forgot what the Kaizen or something. Either way, because then also with that comes the other part, with it, the gender portion of this whole culture war going on, because now you have the basically again you have conservative men who are saying like, no, we don't want to give women more rights because they already have enough rights, okay? And then the left wants to say, oh no, women have enough rights. And again, I'm going on a little tangent here, but basically what we just to simplify this whole thing is that we have individual fractions, yet ultimately at the end of the day, okay, they're working for one side or the other side. Okay, we got two, so think of this as binary. Okay, so got 0, 1, okay, group 0, group 1, okay, but okay, we're gonna branch these two groups. Okay, we're gonna branch these two groups.
Then something just snapped! Something inside of me!
You see, there's a point within the branching of the two sides here, you know, where we get an overlap. And you see, in that overlap itself, it's also where we see a branch. So you see, there's a point where the left and the right, they agree on something, and then that something agreement also branches out into its own variation.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Which is why we see such a diverse, well, we are seeing opposing sort of animosity opinions, okay? Not everyone is like so black and white. Not everyone is so like rigid in their way of thinking and what they believe in and what they do agree with and what they don't agree with, okay? Like, cause you got the gay conservatives who ultimately are gay themselves. They don't want, you know,
homosexuality for the homosexual population to be wiped out. They simply want to conserve sort of like the mainstream value system that humanity put upon itself through years and years of experimentation, okay? And they're like, okay, we need to find a way for us to fit in to this, because we kind of do, because like here's the thing, homosexuals kind of exist in some way outside the heterosexual framework as humanity is too, because if you look at biology, okay? Biology has designed men and females to get pregnant, you know, you need an egg and a sperm cell, okay? So it's a man and woman that create the reproduce, you know, humanity and whatnot.
Kind of like going off topic of you. But what I'm basically saying is that
conservatism is not about resisting progress. It's about ensuring that progress aligns with our core values and does not merely create new problems.
You see, left and right, you see, and as you can see in the point here, it's not left, and it's not right. You see, humanity. You see, socially, we are evolving more and more to be more chaotic, okay? Our branches are colliding with each other, okay?
Boy, have you lost your mind, cause I'll help you find.
The branches are colliding, okay? So therefore, okay, the culture itself, there is no culture, okay? There is no culture, okay? There is no culture, okay? It's just us fighting each other, okay? There is no culture. We are destroying culture as it is. It's already broken, okay? And we're further and further breaking more of the culture, okay? Because we are further falling, okay? You see? And that is why no one is winning the culture war, okay? Because every fraction is just part of the bigger puzzle of the wacky tree branch timeline that we live in. And
Wake up, samurai. Elliot's here to fix the mess you've made.